Hello and welcome to the LA Times Grammys preview. I'm Michael Wood, pop music critic. This is my colleague August Brown, and we are going to break down a couple of categories before Sunday's show. August, it comes around every year. We think it's done, and then it's the next year and it's back again.
Do you think they're going to stop, and they never do?
They really, really never do. Let's break down a couple of categories. I think Album of the Year, that's kind of the biggie. You know, I often sort of think of it as the Grammys equivalent of the Oscar for Best Picture. People will be very familiar with a lot of the nominees. You got a lot of heavy hitters, Kendrick and Lady Gaga and Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter. Who do you see taking this award?
Yeah, this is an interesting year. You got no Taylor, no Beyonce, no Adele,
yes. Classic
heavy hitters. So it does feel more wide open maybe than years prior. Yeah, I think for me, you know, obviously this is a very tense time in the United States. And I think people are looking to kind of traditionally use occasions like this to make statements about their cultural values. And I think that bodes well, I think, for certainly Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
You know, I think, you know, his album was one of the smash hits of the year and spoke really eloquently to a lot of the issues that are roiling through society right now. From an artist who's playing the Super Bowl, this is kind of as peak of a moment for him as you can get. And I think it would be a really salient and really meaningful choice. What do you think he stands on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think Bad Bunny's going to win. I think it's basically a three-way race between Bad Bunny, Kendrick, and Gaga. Kendrick and Gaga have both been nominated numerous times for this award and never won. There's a little bit of like, it's their turn energy, you know, which we saw last year with Beyonce. That said, I think Bad Bunny's going to take it. I think it's the feel-good vote. It's also a huge commercial smash, one of the biggest, maybe the biggest act in the world.
I want to put a slight thumb on the scale for Kendrick just because he had a genuine Hot 100 mega pop hit in Luther.
Sure.
You know, that song was dominant for months on end.
Yeah.
He's always at a critical and commercial peak,
Yes.
but he finally kind of got like the pop hit that he had been hunting for a long time. And I think that kind of bodes well at finally getting it.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about Record of the Year. People always say, what's the difference between record and song? Record of the Year is for a producer and performer. Songwriter, Song of the Year is a Songwriters Award. So Record of the Year, a lot of the same names: Gaga, Abracadabra, Kendrick, Luther, Bad Bunny, DTMF, Sabrina Man-Child. I see Record going to Luther. The Grammys love kind of intergenerational conversation, and Luther is Kendrick and SZA kind of covering Luther Vandross and Cheryl Lynn's version of If This World Were Mine by Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell. So it's like the 2020s looking back at the 80s looking back at the 60s, which the Grammys love that.
The Grammys' favorite thing is a young person in love with old music.
Totally.
And this kind of hits that real trifecta of someone who's a powerhouse at the Grammys already, who is immersed in a dual lineage of classic soul, and the song was a massive hit. I think it's a real uphill battle for anyone else to win except for Luther.
One other thing I noticed is that this feels like kind of a watershed moment for K-pop at the Grammys. Speak on that. What's up with that?
Yeah, this is there are a few K-pop artists have got Big Four nominations, which hasn't happened before, and this could be a real they're up against some stiff competition, but this definitely feels like a year where the Academy is taking K-pop on its own merits. You've got Golden, which was the breakout hit from K-pop Demon Hunters,
yes.
which anyone with young children surely is intimately familiar with that song at this point.
And that's nominated for Song of the Year.
You also got Rosé and Bruno Mars' Apartment, huge #1 hits, got some Korean language lyrics in it. And then you've also got Cat's Eye for New Artist, which feels like more of an outsider pick, but worth acknowledging that hey, they're paying attention to that group this year. So it does feel like, absent kind of BTS, this is probably the strongest year for a K-pop artist to pull off a Big Four.
Last but not least, Best New Artist. Best New Artist, a very coveted award, but sometimes people say there's a curse to it because some of the acts who've won Best New Artist in history maybe didn't go on to quite as illustrious careers as they might have hoped. But people really want this award. This is an interesting one because a lot of new names: Addison Rae, Alex Warren, Somber, Cat's Eye, Lola Young. But I was struck by the fact that only Leon Thomas has a second nomination in one of the Big Four categories. I mean, I think this probably comes down to Leon Thomas versus Olivia Dean. That's my sense of this race. What do you think?
Yeah, great. I think Leon Thomas has been obviously in the mix for a long time, writing for a number of artists, like SZA included. Totally. Obviously has some love within the kind of rank and file of the Academy that is the muscle behind a lot of this. And, obviously Record made a huge impact this year. I think he's, and would be interesting because I think if he were to win, he would be the first non-solo female artist to win in, I think, like 8 years or something.
Yeah. 9 of the 10 last winners have been women, which is interesting.
Yeah, so that would be an interesting, trend breaking. But then also, Olivia Dean,
yes,
massive massive hit, huge arena artist, came out off of the Sabrina Carpenter tour to become an arena headliner in her own right.
Yeah.
I would say she's probably the most likely winner, but also Leon Thomas would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, that's my sense too. Olivia kind of does what Grammys love, which is a young English soul singer. We've seen it with Adele, we've seen it with Amy Winehouse, we've seen it. It's a pattern that the Grammys really love.
Yeah, that is an archetype that she fits into really nicely, and obviously has had a massive year. So yeah, I think a strong vote.
Well, that's it. Our predictions. I am sure we're going to be absolutely, completely correct. You will have to find out if we were by watching on Sunday night. We will be covering the Grammys in real time, live blogging it up. So find our coverage at latimes.com.